Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, you can finally play Virtual Boy games the way they were meant to be played, for the low, low price of $3,499.99. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be going through the news from the week, and then on Thursday, we are comparing the promise of the Switch to the reality 8 years later, and this time we're actually going to do it. But Mark, in the meantime, how's it going?
It's going great. And yeah, so we didn't have an episode last Thursday. Took a little sick day. Patrick, sounds like you're better?
I wouldn't say I am better. Yes, I would not say that I am well now. But yeah, no, I am getting better.
Well, I have some kind of exciting news that I think will maybe cheer you up.
Okay, great. Let's hear it. I'm ready. I'm ready to try anything.
Okay, you know that I've been watching Lost. And
I don't know how many episodes we can start this way.
No, this is
okay.
This is truly exciting and very important to me.
Yeah, okay, good.
Okay, you know I've been watching Lost, and on Lost, the airline that they take is Oceanic, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Flight 815. Yeah.
The other day, I was watching an episode of Diagnosis Murder from the 4th season. Episode 23 called Murder in the Air.
23 is a number. What season did you say?
Season 4. Yes. Okay. All right. So season 4, episode 23 is called Murder in the Air. And in this episode, Dr. Mark Sloan, played by Dick Van Dyke, is taking a transatlantic flight, and to Switzerland, to Zurich.
Okay.
And guess what airline he's flying?
Is he flying Oceanic?
And guess when they show like B-roll footage of a plane in the air, it's the same logo and everything as Oceanic from Lost.
How can this be?
So Diagnosis Murder
takes place in the same universe.
In the same universe as Lost. I wonder if it's like, since Oceanic doesn't exist, it's like one that they had that just had clearance.
Yeah,
and
sure.
The whole exists. I have no idea. I have no idea why this happened. And this must have been years before Lost. This was 1997 that this episode aired.
And Lost would have been 2004.
Yeah. Wild.
So 7 years earlier, Dr. Mark Sloan.
It's like something that would happen in Lost.
In Lost,
I jumped up out of my chair.
Yeah, that is appropriate. So wait a minute. You were watching. You're telling me that you are watching Lost, but really this is a story about you watching Diagnosis Murder.
Two things could be true at the same time.
All right. Okay. You're not on trial here.
It kind of feels like it.
Yeah,
I don't have to explain my television watching habits to you.
Well, if you want Mark to explain his television watching habits to you, you can go over to patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society, where if you are supporting us at the 8 or 16-bit levels, you get access to our once-a-month episode of miniseries as we are recording them and putting them out. We are making our way right now through Season 2 of NCS Arcade.
Yeah, and this month we are going to be playing Elite Beat Agents for the Nintendo DS, and I'm very excited to play this game, to talk about this game, and that'll be happening pretty soon, and that's going to be a lot of fun.
And look, we know that this is not a game that's available to play on Nintendo Switch Online. We went off menu.
But sometimes when an Elite Beat Agents is there, you just got to go for it.
Sometimes you hear Agents are go! And you just gotta heed that call, right?
Yes, exactly.
So look forward to that. Grab yourself a copy of the game on DS if you want to play along.
Also, I have not bought a new Nintendo DS, but I do need to get on that. And also, this is reminding me that we need to record our listener email episode about Mega Man, but we will do that when you're feeling a little better and we're back in person.
Yeah, great. Yes, good note. We are still planning to record a conversation about Mega Man Dr. Wily's Revenge, just as soon as I'm better and we can be in the same room. Let's see, if you are supporting us at the 4-bit level, you also have access to NCS Detective Club, which you will hear Mark justify his TV watching habits in that miniseries, I think.
And in that miniseries, we talk about Diagnosis Murder, which we now know exists in the same universe as Lost.
That means that Delta Burke Nun character exists in the same world as Lost.
We are so lucky to have this.
We're so lucky. And then if you are not in our Discord, you should get in our Discord. Email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com.
And
we will send you an invitation. You can get in there and talk about the show or about what's going on in Nintendo. Look, we're gonna have to make walkthroughs for each other to get through Emio the Smiling Man when it comes out at the end of the month. So that'll be a good place to be talking about that in real time in just a couple weeks. Unreal, Mark.
Oh man, I can't wait.
And then last little plug here, of course, is that the first 3 issues of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle sourcebook, written by me, are in comic book stores right now. Issue 4 comes out on September 4th. A very exciting, cool volume, and then the whole thing will be collected later. Pre-order it if you haven't already, if you're interested, of course. All right, Mark, let's get into what we've been playing this week.
So I continue to play Elite Beat Agents, but I have a question for our listeners out there, because I don't think you're playing it, Patrick. Is anyone playing an indie game called Thank Goodness You're Here that released on Switch and I think other platforms last week or just a couple of weeks ago? I've seen some reviews of this game, and it is supposed to be really funny. And some of the reviews are like, look, I know video games are not usually funny, but this actually is. And that has me intrigued, because I believe that is true. Rarely are video games like genuinely funny, but apparently this one might be, and that has me intrigued.
What is the game that this publisher had done previously?
Oh, I don't know.
Let's see. Panic Inc. They previously put out. I'm gonna find it. Oh, Untitled Goose Game. Okay, all right.
Oh,
that makes sense. So fundamentally, a funny concept in that game, but I would be very interested in seeing what an actual like moment to moment, funnily written game in that vein would feel like.
Yeah, so if anybody has I mean, it's only $20. I think as of this recording, it's on sale for like 17 or something like that. So I might just pick it up anyways, but I would be really curious if anybody's played it and can vouch for its funniness or lack thereof.
I like that this is a real sticking point for you. Like, is this actually funny?
I mean, with a video game, you never
know. Well, so on that note, I'm playing Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, which has been sort of my go-to activity as I've been on like kind of sick day and like rest mode. And I know that the Mario RPG, Paper Mario, Mario and Luigi games are noted for their humorous writing. And I would say that is, I'm not sure I would ever classify these games as funny, but they are written with like enough charm and humor that like it's like the chocolate coating that makes the poison pill go down easier. Do you know what I mean? And I still like have a little bit of an issue with. So okay, there's a thing in the game where you run into Luigi. And Luigi has his own adventures that he's going on, right? And every time you run into him, he can update you on what he's been up to. And it is humorously written, but it's also like nonsense, right? He's describing like a plot of a Paper Mario game that you don't get to play, and like the plot of these games is like that's not why you're playing them. I'm having a tough time locking in to finding that enjoyable and not just like spamming the A button to get through it. Because I'm just like, okay, so he went to the Waffle Kingdom. Okay, like there aren't like jokes. There's no like comedic game that it's playing. It's all just like, here are some specifics that you don't get to see, which is funny in concept, but like the actual execution, I still just find myself annoyed with like reading these this bit of dialogue with Luigi.
Yeah, man, it's been a long enough since I played that game that I don't remember that, and I could absolutely see how that would be diminishing returns very quickly.
Yeah. Diminishing returns is exactly right. So I have just entered Chapter 3. I have 2 of the crystal stars in my in my collection. I have 3 companions, Goombella, Koops, and Madame Flurry. And it is weird when you have Madame Flurry following you around, that if you're trying to do any platforming on like the X and Y axis, like you're jumping, up or down, that she just blocks your sprite completely. You can't see where Mario is. So if you want to do any platforming, you gotta switch out to one of the smaller characters.
You have Goombella, right? What's the second one?
Koops.
Is Koops the one that you? Oh no! You are not there yet. What are you thinking overall? Is this because this is your first time?
This is my first time playing,
right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm finding it charming. I'm finding it charming. And like I think the combat is always fun. I like that there are a bunch of different ways. Like, because your inventory is so small and like items cost so little. You end up using items a lot in battle, but you also have like the special abilities and the regular attacks and the star abilities too. So like there's a lot of different ways to approach any individual battle, and depending on what you're fighting, a lot of your abilities won't work. Things that you can't jump on, things that you can't hit with a hammer, things that are fireproof, whatever. And so I like that a lot. I'm finding a lot of the like dungeons tedious to navigate, and that's even sort of extending to Rogueport when I go back there, where it's just like, okay, now I gotta like run back over here and run back over here, and there's a lot of like, I don't know, just asking myself like, where was that thing, or where was this little guy? And man, especially speaking of little guys, there are these little bug dudes inside a tree in the lead up to the second star that like, there are 101 of them following you around. And if they get like too close to a spider, they like run away and you gotta like go back and collect them. And that dungeon was a real slog. But it's funny to see like, this game is from the GameCube era, and I don't know if they were just like, we've done it, we've cracked it, we can put 100 little guys on screen. We're putting it in Pikmin, we're putting it in Paper Mario. It's just very funny to me. So yeah, I'm enjoying the game okay. I don't know how long I'm going to play it once I am like well and going outside more and stuff. But it has been a pleasant way to pass the time.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. I've only put maybe an hour into the Thousand Year Door remake, and before that it's been at least 15 years since I played the original on GameCube, and but everything you're saying reminds me so much of my experience playing the Paper Mario on Nintendo 64,
Sure.
where the writing and like the combat and like there's so much of it that is fun and is easy to recommend, but that game also has a problem with backtracking. Even though it's like the individual worlds aren't that large, it just feels like it takes a long time to get anywhere and to kind of when you're passing through those same areas, like those same screens over and over, just kind of gets tedious.
Well, and that's the thing with like backtracking is when you're doing it through such small areas, that you're like, yes, I was just here, you know? Like you don't have the opportunity to like be away from the place long enough to miss it, so that going back feels like novel. You're just like backtracking because like that's the design of the thing. Yeah, I just don't find it super compelling. So.
Yeah, totally.
Anything you want to add about Elite Beat Agents? Obviously, we are going to be recording a deeper conversation about it later in the month.
Just that the music choices constantly surprise me,
I agree.
It's a real delight.
It is a real delight. Look, we've got a category by which a couple different categories by which we judge these things, and one of them is how much does the game feel like time travel, and I feel like that is going to be off the charts.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to break the scale on it, I think.
Yeah. But it's been a lot of fun to play it after hearing about it for so long.
Yeah, I look forward to having a in-depth conversation about it and all the music choices. But that's what we've been playing this week. Let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week.
Okay, so there's nothing here that particularly stands out to me as a new release, but like notable that I particularly want to pick up or anything. But as I was scanning through the new releases for the week, there were 3 that stood out to me where I was like, I recognize this title. Let me do a little bit of digging to figure out what it's doing here. So yesterday, August 12th, Cult of the Lamb Pilgrim Pack DLC was released. I haven't played Cult of the Lamb, but everybody I know who has loves it. It's one of those games where I feel like I should probably pick it up. But the Pilgrim Pack DLC, it is includes new cosmetics, but kind of the big chunk of it is an interactive narrative comic that they're hyping up as a new way to explore the world. It has like branching paths and all that kind of stuff. So that came out on Monday. But then also on Monday, there was a free Unholy Alliance update that adds a bunch of new features, including local co-op. And that one's available to everyone who's bought the game and is free. So I don't know, Cult of the Lamb, one of those games that, yeah, I feel like could be a lot of fun to check out at some point.
And now with local co-op, like we've talked in recent weeks about my sort of rediscovery of Vampire Survivors with local co-op, and that making that game a blast. Not that it wasn't fun to begin with, but yeah, I mean this could be another one where it's just like, oh yeah, there's a whole new dimension of it unlocked by local co-op.
Totally. And then today, August 13th, Harvest Moon One World Complete is released, and this is another one that I was like, is there a new Harvest Moon game that I haven't heard about? What is this? It's the game plus all of the DLC from the game that originally launched in 2021. So it's like a repackaging of a 3-year-old game. So that's Harvest Moon One World Complete.
I'll be honest, I don't remember Harvest Moon One World coming out in 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay,
no, sorry. I don't want to give the impression that was a particularly notable release or anything, but I recognized Harvest Moon, and I'm like, what is this? Normally, if a new Harvest Moon game was coming out, we would hear some details about it. At least, even if we don't talk about it on the show, when we were scanning for news items, it would have come up. And then tomorrow, August 14th, Wednesday, Sam & Max The Devil's Playhouse is released digitally. And this is another one where I'm like, is there a new Sam & Max game? What is this? And it's a remaster of Telltale's final Sam & Max game. But get this, it was originally released in 2010, and it was a launch app for the original iPad.
What?
Yeah, crazy, right?
And that's the last time they put out a Sam & Max game? Is in 2010?
Telltale, yeah. I know. Crazy. And maybe there's another company that picked up like the Sam & Max license and has been releasing other ones. I don't know. I've actually never played any Sam & Max game. But
yeah. And you and I also aren't like huge Telltale game fans either. Right. But, of course, I played the first episode of the Homestar Runner game that they put out on
WiiWare. Of course.
Yes.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That's like basically my experience with Telltale. Is when that was released, and this was probably the tail end of that first wave of when Telltale was like reviving point and click adventure games, and
right,
they had like
before they landed on the like Walking Dead formula, right?
Yes, totally. Yeah, I feel like this was kind of like the end of that, and then they moved on to the more involved narrative, moving away from the LucasArts style and kind of into their own vein. So anyways,
into the Clementine will remember that phase, right? Of like you make a decision and it like actively changes like other characters' view of you and can like genuinely shape the narrative. That's what like their games would be going forward, right? Those are the rest of the Walking Dead games. That's the Wolf Among Us. That's like the Batman game. And I'm sure there are other examples that I am forgetting right now. But I did play that first season of Walking Dead, and it is good.
I have not played any of those. I think some of them are on Switch because Telltale didn't implode until into the Switch generation. But anyways, those are 3 new releases that I recognize the names of.
It's it's tough, right? We are in the era now where Nintendo is like, we put out 1 Switch game a month. You get 1. And now we're just waiting for that 1 to drop.
Yep, that's right.
Right? Okay, those are the new releases. Mark, let's close this segment out. Which brings us to a regular segment on our show. It is time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or a group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So for the duration of one performance, 433, Mark and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Today we are talking about the announcements out of Disney's D23. Mark, let's start with parks, because of course, let's start with parks.
Oh man, yeah, there's a lot of theme park stuff. Well, I mean, close to home
hold on. First, hold on. I just got to know, how do you, when something like this happens, are you like following a bunch of like Disney parks people on like a social media platform, or are you catching it all later when it's like compiled somewhere?
Oh, so this one, it was like a mix of both. I was following like some live blogs. I was following people on Threads. I feel like I was getting scattershot pieces of information because, one person would capture one detail and another person would capture another detail. And so it took a while to put the mosaic together of like, what exactly got announced and when is it supposed to be under construction?
And was this streamed in Fortnite, or was that just the entertainment panel?
That's a great question that neither of us will ever know the answer to.
Ever know. We will ever know. Never. We will never know the answer to that.
But yeah, I thought it was funny that they like kind of started the whole thing by saying, for real, guys, trust us. We're actually going to build this because we're going to build everything that we're talking about here, because they do definitely have a reputation of announcing things at these conferences and then never building them or, canceling them.
Right.
So, and even though they're saying trust us, I will still believe some of this when I actually see it. Because they're talking.
So highlights for you from the things that they were showing off.
Coco Boat Ride.
I'm
probably going to cry through the whole thing. That's just how I engage with Coco. Is
the just only way, man.
Is just tears. So Coco Boat Ride, that seems awesome. I think some of the stuff they are supposed to be building for Disney World seems cool, like the Monsters Inc. ride. Like, I feel like they're building a lot of stuff that just seems like no-brainers. That why did it take you? Monsters Inc. came out in 2001. Why is it
right? And the doors part of it, where they're like riding the doors around, that's like, it's like a roller coaster in the movie. Why would that not be part of their parks?
Yeah, it seems so obvious. So it's cool that they are getting around to doing it allegedly, presumably. They're telling us.
How do you feel about the possibility that they're tearing down Muppet Vision 3D in order to do this?
Okay. I it seems silly to me that they would do that because this is supposed to be going into Disney Hollywood Studios, and that theme park needs more stuff to do. Why would you take out anything you should be building new stuff entirely, like added capacity? I don't know. That seems crazy to me if that's what they end up doing.
Yeah. Then what other big announcements there caught your eye?
Well, I think it's surprising that two Cars rides are going into Frontierland in the Magic Kingdom at Disney World.
Yeah, does that seem like misplaced? Like Frontier, like there's, I guess in Cars they are like Radiator Springs is out in like the American West, but like not during the time of like frontier exploration, right?
Yeah, maybe they're trying to get away from like westerns and that sort of thing, because what does it mean to anybody anymore?
Right. That is a fair point. I just watched Tombstone this weekend for the first time.
How is Tombstone? I've never seen it.
It's great.
Okay.
It's really good. Yeah. It's really good, and they did some like trippy stuff where I was like, man, this is so much closer to like modern times than I think about westerns being.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe close enough for Tow Mater to show up.
Maybe Tow Mater would roll through at the OK Corral, and keep Verge from getting shot.
I do think Villains Land could be cool. They promised that as well, and I think that could be a lot of fun.
What kind of did they tease anything of like who villain wise would occupy this thing?
They showed. Oh, that's our timer.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll never know. We were accompanied today by a timer on Mark's phone. All right, Mark, let's get into the news.
So the Apple Vision Pro, Apple's mixed reality AR headset, officially has its first killer app, and it's called Virtual Friend, and it's a Virtual Boy emulator.
I mean, unbelievably cool. I can't believe I can't believe it.
Patrick, I kind of feel like you can believe it.
I can believe it. You're right.
Virtual Boy games can be played as they were made to be played, jankily, but also in 3D.
Which it was how they originally played.
Yep. But really, I feel like the 3D part of it is what makes it cool, because there's Virtual Boy emulators. And this one, in fact, Virtual Friend is available on the iPhone and the iPad. But of course, it doesn't have the 3D effect. And that's, one of the big selling points of the Virtual Boy. Obviously, the Virtual Boy is a joke. Nintendo's ashamed of it. It lasted for all of like 6 months in Japan and barely limped along for a year in the US before they retired it. But, it's kind of a shame that the library is not officially available from Nintendo, never has been. And I think that this is a really fun idea, so I'm glad that a developer went ahead and did this.
Yeah, if only Nintendo had another platform that they could have put out 3D stereoscopic games on.
I know.
Unbelievable. It is unbelievable that these games never made it to the 3DS.
And you would think that at some point, and the library's really small, right? It's like 15 games or something like that.
Exactly, yes.
And so, but you would think at some point, like, time healing all wounds would kick in, and they would maybe because it only existed for such a short amount of time that there's not even enough nostalgia for it. For like, maybe it's just like a weird, it really is for Nintendo freaks only, and so maybe that's why they've just never bothered.
Yeah, I mean that does all track. I also I imagine that to put these games out because like if you're not doing it with the 3D effect, I imagine they're just showing you like one eye's worth of the of the display, but that won't be like a true representation of what that experience was like, right? Because like the character won't be moving quite as far as it should be with the button press, because it would be like switching a little bit as it moves to the other eye, right? If you're like moving like in or out of the depth of field. So like I don't know what it would take to like bring these things to a like 2D display in a way that was like honestly representative of what it was like to play them in 3D. But like whatever that effort hurdle is too high for it to ever come to a Nintendo platform.
But the thing is that, everything you're describing is going to be a problem for 3DS games as well. And they, like games that take advantage of the stereoscopic 3D on the Nintendo 3DS, like even Super Mario 3D Land or Legend of Zelda Link Between Worlds, they're gonna either those games we've talked about this before, either those games will be forever orphaned. They will be remade so that way they're playable, like Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, or they will have to come up with some sort of options. Right. Or the third option is they come up with some sort of like solution to I have absolutely no good pitch for what it would be, but where they are showing these games in 3D again.
Yeah, I mean, I even did notice it when playing Luigi's Mansion 2 HD on Switch, that there are some of those little like challenge rooms that Luigi like gets dumped into where like you could tell the point of it was to like turn the 3D all the way up on your slider, and then you could navigate this little room so much faster because you could perceive the depth. And in the Switch version, it's just like, no, you just gotta hope for the best. And it's not game breaking, but it is a little bit where you're like, oh, I can recognize now that I am missing one of the core features. And the 3D is not that well integrated into what the Virtual Boy does, so maybe that's no big loss. Tellero Boxer is going to play like Tellero Boxer, whether or not you're perceiving 3 different planes of depth. Maybe it doesn't matter.
Next year is the 30th anniversary of the Virtual Boy, and
so we're planning a whole year of content.
Well, out of curiosity, I was looking at how much it costs to buy a Virtual Boy today on eBay, and it was like, between $200 and $300.
No, but it's not that bad.
It's not that bad, but the thing that would make me nervous about buying one is that I believe they use like a spinning mirror in the headset as part of the like 3D rendering or something like that. And I think they're really prone to breaking. So how you would know that you're getting like a good working Virtual Boy. But
right,
I do kind of covet it.
The best case scenario is you end up with a Virtual Boy, right? Like,
you're right. The ceiling, not that high here.
Ceiling's pretty low, frankly.
Small tidbits of new information continue to trickle out about The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. And the Japanese website for the game introduced some other Hyruleans we can expect to... Hylians, I think they're called. I don't know why I typed Hyruleans. Hylians we can expect to meet in the game.
Well, hold on. Should we break it down for a second? Because I think Hylian refers to like the race of people, right?
Okay.
But Hyrulean could be any denizen of Hyrule, right? So the Zoras are also Hyruleans.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Does that make sense? That makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. So I think all of these people, well, no, they're not. So maybe these are all Hyruleans, people that exist in Hyrule. So there's the King of Hyrule. Maybe no surprise that he's there. But there's also Minister Sadari, parentheses, Hyrule government. So a minister of some kind.
Got it. He's not like a church minister. He's yeah, got it.
General Ugi or Yugi, who is a parentheses Hyrule military.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Impa. And
classic Impa. We love to see Impa.
No parentheses needed. And Ruberi, who is Impa's older brother, who's out there researching the rifts.
Now, I love this wrinkle. Impa has never had family before, right?
That's right.
Impa's older brother, Ruberi. I'm all about. Look, this is a new guy. We got a new guy here.
And I'm excited. I'm excited for General Ugi, Uggy, whatever his name is, and then Ruberry. And look, we don't have to stress too much about the names right now because these are taken from the Japanese website, and so who knows what they'll be localized as. But Ruberry, pretty good name. Hope that one sticks.
I don't know if you have seen the sort of like side-by-side comparison of the key art, the Japanese key art and the North American key art for Echoes of Wisdom. But the Japanese one is just like pulled out a little bit more, so you see just a little bit more of like the land of Hyrule behind Zelda. But there is also like one little dude in the upper left corner who's like paragliding. He's like wearing a little red uniform and he's paragliding like through the air. And so I just want to know more about this guy.
Well, and in the trailer that they released last week, wasn't there in one of the little dialogue boxes that are going on, they talk, one of the characters is saying like, so and so won't let me use the hang glider or something like that.
There we go.
Maybe so and so is the little red guy.
I'm very interested in the someone, because like, look, we've seen hang gliding in the Zelda games, but it's always you doing it, right?
Right.
I want to see some NPCs getting up to it. Maybe you get to do like an echo of that guy and hang on to him and like fly around. I'm very excited for this game.
Also, last week when we were talking about the trailer, I was commenting that the map seems like it's entirely new and not based on one of the games, but watching some more videos on it, I actually don't think that's correct. It does seem like it's the Link to the Past map, and just almost like doing the Zelda 2 thing where the Link to the Past map that we know is just a small portion of the Echoes of Wisdom map.
I mean, that's cool. I'll take it. I love that Link to the Past map, of course.
But yeah, the sooner we can learn more about Ruberry, and the sooner we can learn about this little dude dressed in red with a hang glider, I just really can't wait for this game. I'm very excited.
What if they're the same guy? I don't want to get our hopes up. But what if that little red suited hang gliding guy is Impa's older brother?
Wait, that could be, right? Because isn't the oh wait, never mind. I take it all back, but I still hope that's true.
Okay, good.
Capcom surprised everyone with the announcement earlier this year of Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics. Because of licensing issues with Marvel, it seemed unlikely that the games would ever be that some of these games would ever be released again. So the fact that they are coming out is pretty cool. Speaking with IGN, Capcom producer Shuhei Matsumoto indicated that Capcom would like to release as many of its classic fighting games as possible on modern hardware, saying, quote, "We want all our classic fighting games to be available for modern consoles because we just want to be able to reach as many people who may have never had the opportunity to play these games back in the day. So we constantly think forward and we want to make sure that it's as accessible as possible for all audiences."
Which are beautiful words to hear, Mark. But if I want to play Power Stone, I got to get out my Dreamcast.
Well, that's the thing, is I was looking online, like on wikis, to see how many different fighting games Capcom has, and also how many different fighting games Capcom has released like on Switch. And there are so many arcade fighters from Capcom that haven't had an official release in a very long time. Like there lots of series that I had never like heard of or wasn't familiar with. So it does seem like they have a ton of back catalog that they could go to.
Yeah, I mean, like the ones that they've done so far are like the heavy hitters, right? The obviously Street Fighter, Darkstalkers, now the Marvel vs. Capcom ones. But yeah, it's like there are a bunch of like weird, obscure ones, and they did put out that game or that collection that had, oh god, I can't even remember the names of some of these games, but it was just like another like weird quartet or like quintet of fighting games, which I have, but have not really dug into. But yeah, they should put them all out. Let's get the Rival Schools games. Let's get the Street Fighter the movie, the game. Let's get them all on here.
Power Stone's an interesting one because those don't have any licensed characters, right?
No licensed characters, and they weren't originally arcade games. In fact, I don't know if they ever came to arcades. they were Dreamcast originally, and then I think there's like a PSP version of 1 and 2 together. But then yeah, it's never been released like anywhere else. And that's like Power Stone is like my favorite Dreamcast game. I would love to see it come to Switch.
At QuakeCon last week, Bethesda revealed a major update to the Doom plus Doom 2 collection that's currently available on Switch and other platforms. This new update includes a new episode for the game, created in collaboration with id Software, Night Dive Studios, and Machine Games, called Legacy of Rust, a new deathmatch map pack featuring 25 maps, online cross-platform deathmatch and co-op for up to 16 players, an in-game mod browser, a boom source compatibility, making it possible for hundreds of community-created mods from the past 25 years to be published in-game, a bunch of accessibility options, translated into 8 new languages. It costs $10 if you're an existing owner. You get the update for free. I love how, like, I was never like a Doom or Doom 2 person. You know, it was way too violent for my parents to ever let me play it. I just remember going to a friend's house and watching them play it on their PC and just kind of being like mind blown by the entire experience. But I love how much community there is around Doom and Doom 2 and how they continue to like put resources into making playing that experience in modern day better.
Yeah, I mean it is crazy that there's like here's a new episode of the game to play, where it's just like, you know, like if Nintendo was just like, oh yeah, we made another world for Super Mario Brothers, like what?
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's just kind of interesting to me to see all that the love that game gets, and it would be like interesting to see Nintendo do something like that in the future.
I wonder if like any of the like recent attention to like all of this stuff, this new update, has anything to do with the sort of like resurgence of the Doom-like first-person shooter as like a retro game genre that people are developing for now. You know, there was just a Warhammer first-person shooter that plays like Doom, and a handful of other ones that are like actually getting some sort of like notoriety and that people are excited about. They re-released that the Star Wars Doom-like a couple months ago, which I can't remember the name of.
Dark Forces.
That might be right. And it's just like I wonder if there's just like some renewed excitement about it because of that.
Oh yeah, maybe it's like, you know, what we've talked about with Link to the Past before, where Link to the Past kind of feels timeless because so many indie games are based on that. And yeah, so maybe Doom doesn't feel that retro anymore because there are games that were inspired by Doom that are coming out now.
Yep. Circle of life.
Earlier this year, Annapurna Interactive announced that Stray, the 2022 adventure game where you play as a cat making their way through a decaying cyber city, would be coming to Switch sometime this year, and now we have a official release date of November 19th.
Mark, what do you think about this? They obviously put this thing in. Was it a direct or a partner showcase?
I can't remember which one it was, but it did get a little bit of a spotlight.
It got a little bit of a spotlight. Was looking rough. I don't know. This feels like one of those like way too little, way too late kind of things.
It definitely feels like if you can play it anywhere else, you might as well.
Yeah, and like you can because it's been everywhere, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Well, and so November, that is still is that the same month as
Brothership?
Brothership, yeah. We don't have so far we have a game every month through the end of the year except December. So you know, they could have slotted this into that like December spot. But, you know, maybe we'll get like a Pokemon game or something. Who knows?
And last weekend, Splatfest asked, which could you eat every day? It pitted bread, rice, and pasta against each other. In the end, Team Rice took the win with 460 points, pasta in second with 280 points, and Bread in last with 150 points. I think my alliance was with Bread here. I think you ended up going Team Rice, Patrick, if I'm remembering correctly.
I believe that I did. Just there are so many different options with Rice, right?
That's true. But I think I eat a sandwich basically every day, so I had to be true to myself.
Yeah, but you don't have to.
That's right. I don't have to. Yeah.
The only one that we know to be wrong is pasta, right? That's the only one that
That one just feels like too much.
Yeah, it's too much.
Finally, don't forget that the side order Tetris 99 Maximus Cup starts on Friday.
Yes, get in there. Make sure you get the theme. And never stop playing Tetris 99 because we never will, right?
Right.
All right, Mark, let's get out of the news. All right, that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Thank you so much for listening. If you are interested in joining our Discord, email us and we will let you in. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. From my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers, saying thank you for listening.